Yeah, I want to go over a couple things on radiation poisoning because Fukushima. Everybody's concerned about that and what's going on in the air, how much cesium's in the air, and all this type of stuff. And I'm going to go over a couple things as to what I would recommend. Oh, it's going to be a few different things actually, and one of them is going to be something that's going to be my more or less own unique idea. But I'm going to say what they did in Chernobyl. Biggest thing you can do is get activated charcoal. These are, I get this from Puritan. You can get them anywhere though. Very, very inexpensive. Activated charcoal. I kind of went over this before, but I'm going to kind of put it all together and add something to it besides. Activated charcoal is actually what's found in the chemical outer protective garment, CPOG or MOP suits. It's actually not MOP suits, mission protection, mission orientated protective posture. Those suits, activated charcoal actually absorbs like nerve agents, radiation and stuff. That's what's found in the filters on the chemical mask and stuff. So, what happens is it just absorbs. Basically, activated charcoal, that's what works in your water filters. This is the number one thing they used in Chernobyl. One of the number one things they used in Chernobyl for against radiation. Now, another good thing about this, it helps take out toxins from the bodies, heavy metals and stuff, which could be like garbage, even like fluoride. Now, I want to mention something here, since I mentioned the word fluoride. I did this in another video, but I don't know, people probably have problems finding all these damn videos. One thing to take out for detox for fluoride is boron. Boron. It's just a very simple supplement. I'm going to kind of throw that in here right now because it's kind of tough to find this information. But I'm talking really about radiation. And, the thing that takes out radiation sometimes what works fairly well is activated charcoal. But that also takes out a lot of different poisons, toxins, excessive metals, and stuff like that. And if you have a problem with fluoride, you want to get rid of excessive fluoride, boron's a good thing to take. That has nothing to do with radiation, though. This does, and actually excessive chemicals and things like that are in the body. Now, two other things to take, very cheap, and you notice I get stuff from Puritan's Pride, but that's my favorite place to buy stuff. Good price. They've been around the longest. The oldest online manufacturer, supplier of vitamins in the United States. Been around since the 40s. And they've got good prices, good quality test stuff. Spirulina, very ancient green food, very cheap. The body absorbs it very well. And, these are things that help with radiation poisoning. They can help. That's just another thing they've been taking at Chernobyl. Broken cell wall chlorella. It's called Chinese chlorella. Another ancient food, very easily absorbed by the body, and it's very helpful to take anyway, because you can actually list a gazillion things these two green foods do. But if you have a problem where you're thinking you're getting radiation from Fukushima, take these two things and activated charcoal. Now, I'm going to recommend a couple proteins. Hemp hearts, I mentioned this before, there's a whole bunch of things this actually does. I mean, it's a lot, like, in other words, but for radiation, there's another reason you want to take this. It's one of the few proteins available that will help repair DNA. So when you get radiation, your DNA is getting, harmed, right? This will help repair DNA. That's what hemp hearts. This is from the hemp plant itself. This comes from Canada. And they're not allowed to grow hemp in the United States for some stupid reason. But this is not. This doesn't have any kind of like THC in it or any drug. It's just from the hemp plant. It's there's no drug in it at all. It's just a healthy protein, but it's a particular type of protein that helps repair DNA, and that's what usually happens with people that have problems with DNA damage because of radiation. So you want to take hemp protein. Now the other type of protein to take. This is available anywhere, pretty much, wheat protein. And actually, some of the stuff I'm talking about with repairing DNA, not only is it good if you suspect that you have some kind of radiation exposure, it's also good for longevity and health in general. Wheat protein's another one that's good for repairing DNA also. Very powerful stuff. And, what common sense says, you got to have good nutrition. So, if you can grow your own food, have sprouting trays, and eat like close to the raw foods as possible, and not use your microwave or your radiation wave, what do you want to call it? Actually, that's what a microwave is. It's a radiation cooker. That would help a great deal to possibly alleviate problems from radiation. Now, the one thing I'm going to go about telling you that I think is, I would do this, basically. I'm kind of a big believer in these electronic devices, and actually they're sold by a guy who's originally from Texas. His name is Mike Forrest. I think he's a good guy. Unfortunately, the FDA actually got him in trouble one time, big time, because his customers were giving him nice feedback on his website, so that constituted making claims. So now he's in Ecuador, and he don't sell to people in the United States generally. He sold some to me. I use this thing all the time. But if you're from Canada, you're from Japan, you're from Australia, you're from the UK, I'm going to post a link where you can buy his devices. If you're from America and you want to buy them, I don't know. Maybe he'll sell them to you. I don't know. But it's like, in the United States, it's a mixture of people that are so like, I don't know what the hell it is. If you don't want to try the product, don't try it. I mean, you don't be able to be a jerk about it, But this actually is two devices in one. You notice it says de-electrifier. It's called, in other words, it stands for diabetes electrifier. He basically made a much more inexpensive copy of some technology that's out there that basically takes, when you have free radicals in a body, basically it's a unstable atom. It's an atom that's missing an electron. That's basically what a free radical is. And you got this unstable atom, going all through the body, all over the place, and it bounces into other atoms, and that knocks an electron off that atom and makes another free radical. So the theory behind this device is, this is two devices in one. It's actually, you flip it down to this where it says low down here. That's the they call it diabetes electrifier. Basically, it's a device that will restore the missing electron in the atom that is a free radical, and then convert it into something that's not a free radical, to converts it into a stable atom. So what free radicals are. They're present a lot of times in people who have diabetes. So electronically, this can kind of help alleviate or lessen the free radicals in the body. Now, the other thing where people get free radicals, and you can see what I'm leading up to, but the other thing is with sports recovery. If somebody exerts hellacious effort in, running a road race or going on a, Tour de France, they have loads of free radicals in their body. And, what you do is you use this device. Actually, what it is you plug it in here, and you'll use the medical pads. Actually, these are two pairs. Actually, you only need one pair. One pad goes in the bottom of each foot. And that will put this low level current, when you set it on this one setting, through the body, and it helps restore that missing electron from the atom that's the free radical. So the atom becomes stable again, and it's no longer a free radical. Now, obviously, notice free radicals are present in people who have diabetes because of poor diet. Also, athletes that had exerted very, very strenuous physical activity and competitions. They build up a lot of free radicals, and this helps recover. The other thing is, and this is where I would say to try this for radiation poisoning or exposure to radiation, the body basically has a lot of free radicals, causes a lot of free radicals from exposure to radiation. So I would think, in my personal opinion, this might not be a bad thing to try, in addition to, number one, using activated charcoal, the two green foods, broken cell wall chlorella and spirulina, and the two proteins, whey protein and hemp protein. If you want to try something electronically that helps, in theory, it helps add the missing electron to the free radical to stabilize that atom, and no longer makes it a free radical. Now, there's another theory about free radicals actually with anti-aging. That's one of the theories as to why people age or one of the reasons is breaking down of DNA and also free radicals. So, I personally think the science behind this device looks pretty good, and I'll tell you where you can get it. If you're from the UK, from Canada, Singapore, Germany, Saudi Arabia, Israel, or anything, you could buy it from this person. If you're from the United States, I'm not too sure if he's going to sell it to you because of the problems with the FDA. He doesn't really make any claims about it, but he just puts the actual science out there, what's behind it. But I think this would be a good thing to try. In my personal opinion, this is what I would do. I use this sometimes in the anti-free radical capacity. I would do because, when you have DNA damage and you're exposed to radiation, I'm assuming you're going to have a lot more free radicals too. It's upsetting the balance in the body. In other words, when you're exposed to radiation, I'm assuming it's making a lot more free radicals. And electronically, at an atomic level, what this device theoretically does is helps restore that missing electron from the unstable atom, free radical, and making it a stable atom again, and thus not a free radical, causing damage to the body. So this might be a good idea too. It's a shame that, we got these really good conscientious doctors, and then you come across some of this stuff, and it's so cheap, because actually you can make this thing is not that expensive to make. You're not talking like thousands of dollars, you're talking a couple $100 or so, whatever it is, and it's actually two devices in one. And you use some rechargeable batteries, and then, several people can use the same device. It becomes a threat to the income of some people. That's the problem with this stuff. That's my opinion on that. But, I'm going to ad lib here a little bit, but my opinion on this stuff is like this with medical. Compare it to the construction of a house, say, for instance, or anything that went mechanized. If somebody was building a house with hand saws and hand planes and, making wooden dowels to fit the joints of the house together, and they're pouring concrete by hand and all this other stuff, it would take, gazillion times more hours of man hours of labor to produce that product. Now somebody comes out with power tools and, automatic cement mixers and trucks that make it and power nailers and, everything else. And we have laser sighting instruments to get everything accurate. The house is built much better, much cheaper, much stronger. That's the way I look at it with the healthcare system. Did good construction methods destroy the construction industry? No. Did it cause people not to buy houses all of a sudden? No. That's the way I look at it with the medical industry. If we're using more, novel ways that actually are much cheaper by using building block foods and stuff to repair the body, these are two things. Actually, these actually work for anti-aging, besides, since they help repair DNA. If we're using these types of foods and we're actually using electronic methods that are very cheap, you know what? The hurdle for the threshold that people would want, in other words, if you're 100 years old and you look like you're 25 and you feel great, well, you're still going to go to the doctor, you're still going to see the medical people, because maybe the medical people could make you be 150 years old, look like you're 35 and still feel great. In other words, the business is always going to be there. You're actually going to have more business. So, actually what I realize a lot of times with the medical profession is you got niche categories that have a good, steady revenue stream, and they don't want that cut off. It's not the medical community in general, because actually there's a lot of conscientious doctors and nurses out there. For the most part, most of them are damn good. And, they care. There's some that aren't caring. They act like they care. I know that. But, the thing is, this is not going to, these types of things are not going to destroy business. They're actually going to add to business. What they're going to do where they destroy business is going to be in certain niche categories. It's almost like comparing it to the house, the guy that builds the house. You're not going to have a person out there, making wooden dowels to fit with the joints of the house together. You're going to have somebody out there with a power nailer or something like that, or you're going to have metal straps to hold it together or something like that, or you're going to have, machine factory made trusses or whatever already pre-made that need to be installed. It's not going to cut down the overall business. It's actually going to add to the overall business. It's just that certain elements are going to be cut back, and certain elements are actually going to grow much more exponentially. That's why I really believe in these devices. Actually, overall, for the medical community, these types of things will not put them out of business. It'll give them more business, a lot more business. So hopefully that's some incentive to some people, or maybe medical people that watch this video, because, when I say these things, I don't really want to put the medical people out of business at all. I think health is a very, very important thing. And everybody is concerned about health and longevity. If they're not, there's something wrong with them. They got a death wish. And I know there's some people like that too. But this is cheap, very cheap. Activated charcoal, very good for taking out radiation. Used it in Chernobyl. They also use these two things, these green foods too. Also, big time with very good, nutritious for the body and longevity. And they also use these two proteins. And I want to offer one controversial type approach is used as electrifier. Now, this also has the Beck protocol in it, but this is two devices. The electrifier that I'm talking about adds a electron to an unstable atom, free radical that is missing an electron at an atomic level, and thus makes it no longer a free radical, causing damage to the body. And when there's a lot of radiation, a lot of free radicals are caused without the body. So this might not be a bad idea, and I don't think anybody suggested it, but I think it's smart, and I'll post a link on the bottom where you can buy that.